Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right.
It's not that hard.
Hello, we're team 18246 Delta V. I'm Rob,
I'm Andrew.
and we have Eric in the background doing the recording.
Yeah.
We recently got in contact with a company called Studica that has created a Mechanism drivetrain for purchase for a several $100 price point, and we decided that we would like to review this product. So after reaching out to Studica, they agreed to send us one of their products in exchange for an honest review. No money exchanged hands. All opinions are our own, and we do not have to send the kit back at the end of this review. So we will be using it to provide to rookie teams that may need a new drivetrain. So to start off with the Studica kit, what we notice is that it is a very similar profile to the very common Go Build a Strafer profile, which means it has about an 18-inch depth of drivetrain and nearly an 18-inch width of drivetrain. Now what this means is that for a lot of rookie teams that have a lot of larger mechanisms, it's going to be very easy for them to build off of this and very easy to prototype off of this. And additionally, the entire frame is anodized blue, and this stuff does not scratch off, which is very nice for teams that might ram into walls a little bit or might not have as good of control of their drivetrain. Unfortunately, there are some issues with this kit. First, the mechanism wheels. What we notice here is that the mechanism wheels have a profile very similar to that of a 100mm bearing Nexus wheel. This is problematic because the standard Nexus wheel is a very high quality wheel. There are some quality control issues with these wheels. Namely, some of these rollers do not spin freely. This can cause issues with strafing and driving, especially when doing the two in combination. Additionally, the stock mounting for these wheels is a 6mm hole, which mounts to a 6mm D-bore. And because this hole is not keyed to 6mm bore, two set screws are going to have to prevent both axial movement and rotational movement of the wheel. And this is problematic because it causes excessive wear on the set screws and reduces the longevity of the wheel. Moving on from that, additionally, the rollers of the wheel are very smooth but unfortunately aren't very grippy. And what this means is that this drivetrain is much easier to push around than a drivetrain that has standard Nexus or Go Build a mechanisms. So if you're playing heavy defense in a very competitive region, that might cause you issues. Looking at the underside of the kit, we see a configuration that uses a quad-esque style mount for crossbeams, which is very rigid, but unfortunately uses M2 screws or M3 screws with a very small head, which is very easy to strip, especially if you're not coming into the bolt head at a perfect angle. Moving on from there, we see that we have a 1-to-1 bevel drivetrain with a 60-to-1 motor ratio, which equates to about 100 RPM, which is probably about 2 feet per second in translational speed. This is a bit slower than the standard accepted translational speed of about 6 feet per second and may cause issues for teams that are trying to really reach the peak level of FTC experience zooming across the field. Moving on from there, the motors are a spur motor. Spur motors are suboptimal for a lot of drivetrains because having the shaft offset from the rest of the body of the motor makes them very prone to if they take shock loads, you can actually cause damage to the gearbox and render the motors completely broken. And additionally, we're not entirely certain these motors are actually FTC legal because they might not be based off of the RS550 motor, which would make them illegal to use in FTC competitions. The wiring can be very cleanly routed, as was done here by my teammate Andrew. Andrew was able to make the wiring harness very, very clean, very, very nice, which might be good for teams that are looking for a better aesthetic on their robot. And it uses the tried and true Anderson power pole connectors, which are great if you're used to using Andy-Mark motors or have that equipment already available. Additionally, while the encoder cables are split into 4 separate, I believe, DuPont connectors, this might cause issues for teams that are trying to fit them into a tight space, as not having one solid connector can make these easily pull out, or if you're colorblind, seeing all these different colors of wires might cause issues. But if you're using this kit with a Raspberry Pi or an external motor driver, it might be beneficial to you to be able to swap around the order of these pins to better match any MCU or controller that you're working off of. So, in short, there are some very positive aspects of this kit. It's very aesthetically pleasing. It does have some decent quality components in both the bevel gears and the bearings. But there are issues, namely the quality of the mechanisms and the quality of the set screws throughout the kit. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this review by Team 18246 Delta V.